What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is going to be a Leech Lake wrap-up video. I'm not doing, like the traditional tournament video with that one because it sucked. I sucked in that tournament. I caught 2 fish the entire event. Had a pretty decent practice, was finding a couple fish here and there. I caught a 6-pounder, caught a 5-pounder, 4-pounder, a bunch of 3-pounders, and some 2-pounders, and I was like, all right, I got something I can run on. Didn't work out that way. Didn't work out that way at all. But yeah, it was a grind, it was a buster. There's no other way to put it. So, I'm gonna talk about it, but I'm gonna get out here on this little pond, and we're gonna go see if we can catch some bass as we break down what happened on Leech Lake, and maybe you'll learn a thing or two along the way. So come with me. Alright, it's a little windy out, so I don't know if, like, me talking with the GoPro on, you're going to be able to hear me all that much. So I'm just going to break it down right now. Leech Lake in Minnesota. Very cool fishery, tons of fish habitat, largemouth, smallmouth, and just a little bit of history on the lake. You couldn't even keep a smallmouth in a tournament on Leech Lake until like 2 years ago. It was largemouth only. The smallmouth population was dismal. The reason for that is the smallmouth in Leech Lake are naturally reproducing. They got in there through another lake that is connected to Leech Lake. They're not stocked, so it just takes a lot longer for the population to grow. Now, the population has gotten much better, hence why you can keep them now in tournaments. And that being said, if you want to win tournaments on Leech Lake, you need to chase smallmouth. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. If you want to take the title, you want to take that trophy home, you better be chasing brown ones. The problem is, they are some of the smartest, most fickle, analytical smallmouth that I've ever chased in my entire life, and I feel like part of that, twofold, especially with the opens there. One, state the obvious, pressure. A lot of guys did their research on that place, and they knew if they wanted to do any good in that tournament, they needed to chase smallmouth. So they got a lot of pressure, they saw a lot of baits, a lot of different presentations, and it just made them hard to catch. The second reason that I believe that they're so fickle and hard to catch is simply because the amount of food that they have in the lake. There's shiners everywhere, the crawdads are all over the bottom from shallow to deep, everywhere. They're literally everywhere in that body of water. So they have a buffet of food everywhere they swim. The cover that they have to live around is vast, and there's a lot of it. There's a ton of boulders. There's more Volkswagen-sized boulders out there than you know what to do with. And there's fish on a lot of them, but getting them to bite was very tricky. So my game plan, I can't say all in, but I went pretty much all in on chasing smallmouth around. And I found some areas that had some fish, and I was able to get a couple bites. And after the second day of practice, I didn't really fish all that much. I mean, I fished and got bites, but I did not catch anything. I'd get a bite, I'd shake it off, I cut my hooks off, I rolled them in. I was doing whatever I could not to hook those fish. Day one of the tournament rolls around. I go to one of my best areas where I had a school of fish found. They were gone completely. I fished around the area a little bit. I know the smallmouth game, at least so I thought I did, but I know they'll just get up and roll on you, and it happens. It happens a lot when you're chasing smallmouth around. So I knew that was going to be the case, so I just up and left. That was the deal, and I started running all my new stuff and other stuff, and I ended up catching one on a rock that I had marked, and there was more fish there and couldn't get him to bite. I lost count of how many fish I casted at on day one, and to only get one to commit was absolutely gut-wrenching. I was so mad. I mean, I lost it. Emotionally, I was tore up because this is smallmouth fishing the way that I like to smallmouth fish. This is structure fishing. I'm casting at individual targets, casting at individual fish, and picking them off one by one, and I just could not dial it in enough to get him to bite. and I couldn't figure out why. I was throwing a drop shot and a tube. Those are my two main ones. I tried a minnow in practice and could not get him to bite. I threw a little tiny 6-cent swim bait, and I did catch one on the fall. I threw that around a little bit and never got one to bite. I went up shallow, largemouth fishing a little bit, and I had a couple areas where it was like I'd be in there for 15 minutes and get like 3 blow-ups. I'm like, okay, I can just go here and catch them. And that just fizzled out too. I went in there on day 1, got 1 blow up, and it came off. So that was day 1. I was just bummed, just straight up bummed. Brought in 1 fish for two something. I don't know. It wasn't worth a lick. Day 2, I knew that the possibility of at least making a comeback to gather back some points is really good because it's so volatile. So I did the only thing that I knew how to do, and that's go chase smallmouth around again. And that was the only way to be able to get a big bite. I mean, that's how all of the bigger bags were weighed in. I think on day 1 there was 1 18-pound bag of largemouth, and the rest of them were all smallmouth. And it just wasn't, you know, that was my plan. That was my game plan going into the whole week. So I was like, I'm not going to change it now just because I had an absolute crap day. I tried to be as positive about it as I could, and it just didn't, you know. Well, needless to say, day 2 was about the same. I went out. I went to the spot where I caught a 6-pounder. I'll take this life jacket off for a second because I'm finally out of the wind. I'm able to talk to you guys. But I went to the spot where I caught a 6-pounder, and a bunch of the other rock humps and rocks that I had found around there. And I mean, everybody with a camera was there, so I knew I was in the right areas. Like that's just how it's been this whole season, you know. So I don't know. I don't really know what else to say, guys. I mean, I never got a bite from a smallmouth. I believe I had 1 walleye on that felt pretty big. I hooked it. It felt heavy and just not the quick head shakes that a smallmouth has. It was kind of the more lazy head shakes. So I'm thinking that it was a big walleye, and that was the only bite I got offshore. The crowds up in Walker were phenomenal, so I was like, well, heck, I need to catch 1 fish to just walk across the stage in front of all them people and try to do justice for everybody that supports me. At least that was my thinking. I went to a largemouth hole and I caught one, had 1 blow up, caught it, 2-pounder. I was like, cool, going back out chasing smallmouth. Spent about 45 minutes fishing that area, and I never got another bite. So that was the story of Leech Lake. I mean, the footage that I got from that it's not good. You know, I like to think of myself as a pretty positive person, and that tournament really tore me down pretty bad. But that's tournament fishing. That's how it goes sometimes. I was absolutely tore up after that one. I don't really know what else to say, guys. I mean, it was just bad. It was really bad. So, trying to put that one behind us. But we're out here on another lake up in the Northwoods in northern Wisconsin, and I got the trolling motor down right now, holding me out of the wind, so I can talk to you guys. But we're gonna get out here and try and catch some bass and clear our head a little bit, so we can get ready to go for the Bassmaster Open on La Crosse, which practice starts this weekend. And I'll get into that when I get off the water here. So let's see if we can catch a couple bass. And we got it. Not a big one. Just a little guy. Hey, it cast again too. Green pumpkin, purple copper. I think that's a 3/16 I got in there. Messed up lip. This little guy though. See if we can get a couple more. Okay, this heads. And practice ones. There's just a malfunction in the hook. Just like that. Pop that through. There's one. That looks like a good one. Not a giant, but bigger than the last one. And look where he's got that thing. Choked. Down his throat. Have to grab the pliers on that one. Just a little guy. There he goes. 2.75 green pumpkin, purple copper. Probably one of my all-time favorite tube colors. Just catches them. And I think up here to them it looks like a rusty crayfish. You know, I use this on the Great Lakes, on Sturgeon Bay, and to them I think it looks like a goby. I feel like that purple is just a smallmouth color. I don't know what it is about the color purple and smallmouth, but they love it. And then the copper kind of looks like the rusty. If you've never been to a place before, see what the bottom looks like. If it's dark, throw a dark tube. If it's light, throw a light tube. And I don't think you can really go wrong. See if we can pick off a couple more on this. There we go. He bit it. He's not very big either. They pull hard. We'll go down and grab that one. That's at least probably a 3-pounder. Ain't a giant by any means. There we go. Stuck him pretty dang good. Yeah, not even 3 pounds. It's like a 2-pounder. Look at that belly on him. It's a pretty one. There it goes. This is the ALX Zolo McSmalls. It's a 7'6" fast. It's a light. It's a 1.5 light plus. And it's got just the right amount of tip for this, for dragging smaller tubes, for a Ned rig, swim bait. It's perfect for this kind of stuff. You can kind of see it bouncing a little bit as I'm dragging this thing across the bottom. I've grown to really like this rod a lot. Let's try this. There we go. Jeez, finally took long enough. I'm fishing. Yeah, I got like a 4-pounder on too. Probably my biggest one that I've caught all day. Bit 3 times, goodness. I mean, it's digging. There's like 3 or 4 of them there with it. He's not a giant, but he's probably, I don't know, 4 pounds. Maybe. Maybe. Come on. Oh, he's playing. He's playing nice. That's a good one. That's a good one. We'll throw him on the scale just because. Oh, he's fat too. It's 361. 361. All right, back she goes. Well, that wasn't a bad one. See if we can catch a couple more of them. It should be still out here around that break. Maybe, maybe not. Wow, that fish came out of flipping nowhere. So are these ones. Holy buckets. Ah, it's too close to the dang boat. Just like that. It ain't big. But it's a smallmouth. Even the little ones like minnows. There's one. That's one of the right ones right there. Finally. It took a second. He's thinking about it. Oh my gosh, look at them all with it. There's 5 or 6 of them with them. Obliterated this thing. Not a giant, but better than what we were catching before. I think we're gonna put this one on the live well here for a little bit so he can catch some of his friends. Look at that sucker. Yeah, that's a 3-pounder. Man, they get smart. That's a pretty one. Right back down. That didn't work out the way I wanted it to. So that was on the ALX Zolo Hover. It's a 7'3", 2XF medium light, extra fast. It's a Daiwa Tatula MQLT 4000, 8-pound J braid, and a 6-pound Seagar Tatsu leader with a 3/8 ounce VMC Moon Eye jig, and then just the little jerk minnow and the Z-Man in smelt color. It's a really good Cisco imitator. This is one of my favorite baits. Well, anywhere up north, but definitely like in the fall when they're really starting to chase bait. That's the setup. And if you've ever looked at a Cisco, their eye is really big. That's why I feel that that jig head helps this time of year, or anytime you're around fish that are chasing Ciscos. That's gonna be it for out here, guys. Slower, we got a couple. Bye. Well, that's a wrap, guys. Caught a couple on a minnow, a couple on a tube. Nothing crazy, a couple 3-pounders, but it was still fun. But definitely more fun than Leech Lake was, that's for sure. But yeah, so all that being said, La Crosse will be my last Bassmaster Open for the 2024 season. I will not be going to Hartwell. I am so far out of it in the points, multiple 100+ place finishes this season. And I'll dive into that in another video, just kind of break down my seasons and how everything went and just all the ups and downs, and I don't know what I could have done, what I should have done. You know, I'll dive into that in another video. But La Crosse will be my last Bassmaster Open, so I will be heading there this weekend to start practice and ending it in the home state. I got to change something up because obviously my tournaments have been dismal this season, so I need to make some adjustments to make sure that this last one is not plain and simple, and go catch some river fish. I've been bouncing around fishing a couple of rivers here and there just to get back to fishing in current and just used to all that whole game. It's just different. It is different. river fishing's fun. I grew up doing a lot of that too on the Wolf River. Acorn just smashed my truck. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. That's the breakdown of Leech Lake. I know it's not as exciting as a tournament video, but this was better than my tournament by far. So thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the good stuff, and show the companies that are at the bottom of this in the description some support. If you like what I'm doing, let them know. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you on the next one.